Paper right here contains the external brain protocol, and I've been experimenting on myself for the past 3 years. This is the result of that. I figured out a protocol in order to help my brain function. Not replace my brain with an external brain, but the external brain helps you remember more thoughts and ideas, process more thoughts, and take better decisions. This is not going to replace your brain, but this is going to support and modernize your brain, because your brain mostly still runs on old programming, caveman programming. Sometimes it needs support so that it can process and cope with the modern world. This protocol should help it. We have to figure out what things the brain does cognitively. There's really four functions which you can broadly categorize. The first one is information collection. Second one is information retention. Third is processing. And fourth is decision making. Remember these four. If we have to use simple words in order to describe them, they would be input, storage, processing, and output. These four are the four main functions of the brain when it comes to cognitive thinking. And this paper contains a protocol to help fix all of that. Okay, so first we're going to support the section input. Make more space over here. Input means the information or the content that you are consuming. Simple as that. And how do you optimize it? How do you help your brain to consume more quality stuff? You have to focus on volume. You have to focus on the philosophy of good things stick. This is where you consume blindly, and at the end of the day, all the good things, all the life changing advices, all the great quotes, all these things, they just automatically, naturally get stored up in your head. One caveat here that I will give you here is you need to understand that you need to be directionally correct. For example, you're watching entertainment videos. So let's take the example of a Mr. Beast video. You could find life changing advices from there. You never know. But is it likely? No. The percentage of chance is really, really low. But instead, if you watch an educational podcast, or not even a podcast, it's just like the top 10 ways to do something podcast, some random high dopaminergic classic self-help video. If you just even watch that, chances are that you will find some life-changing advice there, some banger quotes there. So be directionally correct, consume edutainment or education only, no pure entertainment videos, and only then you will have a higher volume, a richer source of good information that needs to be retained. Keyword for this section would be, I don't know, what is it going to be? Let me just pick a word. Exposure therapy. In exposure therapy, whatever you are scared of, whatever you are afraid of, you just are exposed more and more to it until you get normalized with it. Kind of like that, like we take 10% of that philosophy, the core of it, and we just increase our exposure to content, but be directionally correct while doing it. You have to understand, when you are consuming content, you don't know what you are searching for. You want life-changing advice. You don't know what the advice would be or where can you find it. If you would know where you can find it, if you would know what the advice is, then you would know the advice. You wouldn't need to search for it. That is why I need you to blindly just consume until you hit jackpot. But what happens when you hit the jackpot? Your brain can remember it only for a couple of minutes. But what about after that? Our brain is especially good at processing, but not storage. So to help our brain store more thoughts, we're going to keep this section short, by the way. Storage. We're going to focus on storage. The killer idea here is going to be post-it notes. Obviously, you already know this advice because this has been repeated so many times and it is effective. I'll not go against mainstream on this one. Post-it notes are great. One tip, one personal touch that I will put to this advice is use sticky bookmarks. These are basically the same exact post-it notes. They are just cut short. Now, how do you use these post-it notes? Don't just stick them up randomly. Have an idea wall. Here's a picture on the screen of my personal idea wall. That's where every time I get an idea for a video, I'll just write it up on a post-it note, just stick it up on that wall. Simple as that. And on the days when I am like, oh, I don't have any inspiration for making videos or thinking about video scripts, I just open up the idea wall. There's so many ideas, I can just pick and choose my favorite ones. Now this is really the core of it. What about some other thoughts? Your brain does come up with random thoughts every now and then. How do you store those? If you live with a smartphone, probably you're watching this video on a smartphone now. If you live with a smartphone like a normal person, you're gonna have the Notes app. Just make sure that the Notes app is extremely accessible. You don't need to open like a 10-letter password to access it. Open your phone, Notes app, boom. We don't want any distractions to get to you before you open your Notes app. If you live an analog life like me, where you use only a phone like this, it's a dumb phone, well, you have to get yourself a notepad. Not the computer app, a physical app. Sorry, a physical notepad. Okay, it's like a little notebook for my Gen Alpha kids out there. And for laptops, well, I don't know anything about Macs, but for Windows, there is an app called Sticky Notes. I'm surprised people don't know about this, but there is an app called Sticky Notes. Open that, you can just type things in there. Point is to have these methods, which I've listed down on here, accessible. You have to keep the post-it notes by you, the Notes app accessible, the notepad in your pocket. So that, again, you also have to keep a pen, common sense. So that you have an idea and you instantly, within like 1 minute, 30 seconds, you just have the notes ready. Because your brain is very bad at storage. We just keep forgetting things after we get an idea. So that's input and storage sorted. We are going to support our brain with the input by exposing ourselves to more content, and we're going to store more things outside our brain because our brains are bad at storage. So we're going to use post-it notes, Notes app, and notepad. I've focused mainly on storage for thoughts which come and go, but you can also use these things to take notes from videos like these. Storage actually includes everything, every kind of thought that you need to store. Next, we're going to move forward with processing. This is actually going to be interesting because our brain is already good at processing. It's one of its main strong points. How are we going to support that? Sometimes we get brain fog. Sometimes we get stuck in a rut period of our life where we don't know what to think. Our thoughts are not optimized. And hot take, but I don't think personal choices affect your brain fog that much. Yes, they kind of do, the lymphatic system and all. I'll explain that later. But there's also some support systems, some crutches that your brain can lean on in those times, which will allow you to clear a lot of the brain fog. I think most of the brain fog that comes in your life is actually from unprocessed thoughts. There are complex thoughts. There's a high volume number of simple thoughts which cloud your brain. Your brain is overwhelmed. Simple as that. So, there's two things that you can do for processing better. First, you can use a journal. You just write. There's something about writing which actually slows your thoughts down because you can't move your hand at the speed of your thoughts. And when you slow your thoughts down, you think clearer. That is why whenever I make a script, I try to write it down instead of just wing it in front of the screen, because then the script is much more precise. Whenever you have a lot of brain fog, just know that there are things that are going on in your life and your brain can't keep up with it. So if you want to keep up with it, open up a journal and do a massive brain dump. You don't try to do a specific type of journaling trying to get a specific type of result. You open your journal out, dump your thoughts on the journal and make a massive list. So this is personally what I'll do. Whenever I'll feel overwhelmed in my life, I'll open up my journal and on there I'll just write a massive list of things of what's going on in my life. So it could be very small trivial things like my friend something to me which hurt me, or I want to experience my birthday party, but I also feel the greed for the gifts, which I don't want to feel because I know that's bad. These things. You have to make a list of these small things and also the bigger things. It's like I am grinding towards this goal and here's my progress. Make a massive list of these things. In the end, you're going to realize that, oh, it's not 250 different things which I have to think about every single moment of my life. Here's 15 things. Or best case scenario, every time this happens with me, 4 things, 5 things which are going on in my life, and now I have a clear idea of what's going on. I can move on. For complex ideas which are not usually regular life related, you are gonna write essays. I say that you are gonna write, but not everybody writes essays. This is a personal favorite of mine. There's complex ideas like nihilism, absurdism, and the spectrum between them. There's complex ideas like entropy. These ideas are very easy to get attracted to, but very difficult to process because there's very complex, tiny little micro nuances and differences between the ideas and even between like the sub ideas under the ideas. Like, you know what I mean? It's a very complex thing to understand. For those, I'll consume content as usual and I already have the information in my head. I've taken notes maybe. But then I'll dump down all my thoughts regarding that topic on a piece of paper. So I have a separate notebook for essays only. And previously on my channel, I actually have read out 1 or 2 essays from that notebook itself. So I write essays. And writing an essay while also doing a brain dump of the idea makes you make sense forcefully. You're going to force yourself to slow your thoughts down while you write so that you can process this idea better. And once you process the idea, it is going to be way much easier for you to grasp the concept which you have been learning about recently. Now, this was one side of processing. How do you keep the machine oiled up? Pause. How do you maintain your brain so that its natural processing capacity stays intact and goes strong? Well, there's just one thing that you need to do. And here's where lifestyle choices come to play. Cardio. Actually, you know what? Like, this is not a very good way to explain this. We're going to write something else. Lymphatic system. You've heard about this, but nobody has explained it to you. So, in your house, you get some garbage. Okay? Like at the end of the week, there is one plastic bag filled with garbage which you need to throw out into the community dustbin, and then the municipality or whatever, like the garbage collecting company, just comes and collects the garbage and leaves. Our body produces garbage as well. Our body produces all sorts of gunk which needs to be taken out, either excreted out or just simply sweated out. But for the sweating and the excretion to happen, I know you're getting grossed out right now, but listen to this science. For the excretion to happen, the waste needs to travel from the organs to the skin or to the intestines, right? It's the equivalent of you taking the garbage, taking the trash from your house to the community dustbin. This activity is performed by the lymphatic system, basically a system which runs alongside the blood vessels, and there's a liquid in there called lymph which collects the gunk and delivers it to the community dustbin, from where it gets either excreted out or sweat out. Why am I discussing this? Our brain also has a lymphatic system. Our brain also collects all sorts of gunk when it's thinking at night and dreaming at night. And we have to clear that out, because if that's not cleared out, our brain can't think. If the lymphatic system is not cleared out, your brain will just feel a massive bout of brain fog. And that is why the first advice in self-help often is to just fix your bed, and the second advice is go out for a run. Because when you are doing cardio, your lymphatic system moves. Look, your blood system has a heart which keeps the blood from stopping. The blood just keeps flowing. But for the lymphatic system, there's no heart. The lymphatic system relies on your bodily movements. The more you move, the easier the liquid moves around your body, and the easier the liquid moves around your body, the less bloating you're going to have under your skin or in your brain. Yes, the bloating in your skin is caused by you not moving enough. The lymphatic system just gets clogged up. So I need you to take this advice very seriously. Just go out for a run, maybe do skipping. Any sorts of skipping is really good. Um, Swimming is also really good. Basically, just move your body. Stop living a sedentary lifestyle. Move your body, not because you want to gain muscle, but because you want to gain brain points. Actually, not gain brain points, but not lose brain points. Now we have come to arguably the most important area of this entire framework, which is output. Why is this so important? Because our life and our environment, everything is shaped based on micro decisions we take. Me moving my hand right here, as you can see, this is a micro decision which I took subconsciously. Our life is made of these micro decisions, and our brain decides what decisions we take. Now, the interesting thing here is your brain is great at taking the micro decisions. There are sections of your brain which are focused on taking the decision of moving your lungs so that you can breathe, taking the decisions of beating your heart once so that blood pumps through the body, and again and again and again. So you don't need to think about every micro decision making, but sometimes you need to take bigger decisions than your heart beating. Okay, there's no bigger decision than your heart beating, but I mean bigger decisions than a mosquito is biting my feet right now. No, I said that like decision making. I don't know if that made sense. Whatever. There's four different types of what ink am I going to use? There's four different types of support systems that you can have in order to make better decisions. The first one being friends. You go to friends. Okay, I think I made some mistake with the guide. Let me just read it through. Yeah. There's three different types of support that you can give yourself in order to make better decisions. The first one being AI. I'm not kidding. There's this app called Notebook LM. Just search it up on Google, Notebook LM, and that app will help you take notes. But another thing that it's really good at, it's at creating an external brain. So for general life decisions, I need you to pick out all the most life changing books, PDFs, all the most life changing, the best podcasts that I've ever heard, like the top 10, top 20 podcasts, and dump the life changing books and podcasts into one notebook LM. And then you can ask that notebook life questions, little things, the little problems about life. You can just ask that AI about it now, since you have trained it with your sources. You have to remember that the AI will not take the decision for you, but it's basically going to help you take the decision by yourself. The next is human support. And I don't have space to write it down, so I'm just going to say it. But there's really a bunch of different types of groups of humans that you interact with. And we're going to group them based on the type of decision we need to make. So for casual day-to-day small life decisions, like should I eat this or that, you consult your friends. Again, it's your decision. Your friends don't get to take the decision. Your friends don't get to make the decision, you do. But again, they could help. For more deeper situations, so not necessarily related to business or your work only, the depth could be, should I cut off my old friends? Are my new friends even worth it? So on and so forth. I feel greed, like as I just like discussed, I feel greed for gifts on my birthday party, although I really shouldn't. What should I do with this emotion? These deeper things, you consult your family on them. Simple. I don't know about therapy, but if it works, I guess. The third group will be specific help. So it's going to be help with your work. It's going to be either help with your business, whatever it is. You're going to hire coaches or you're going to get mentors. Simple as that. These three are the basic groups. Let me check once. Yeah, these three are the main support systems which you're going to have. One special category in here would be content creators. If you are a content creator, you have a fourth category, which is your audience. Ask your audience before you take any decisions regarding the YouTube channel. Simple as that. Now, we have talked about AI, we have talked about human. Let's talk about self. Because this, let me actually circle it out over here. This is the most important part of this entire video. I need you to lock in. I need you to lock in right now. This is the most important part. Self-esteem. You need to have trust in yourself to take decisions. I'm not going to end the video like that. I'm going to teach you how to build trust. And you build trust circling back with exposure therapy. Simple as that. You just have to take decisions. I'm not talking about the small life decisions, the regular day-to-day ones. Of course, you do too, but you don't need to think about them that much. They don't alter your life. But life-altering decisions, like for me, starting this YouTube channel. 1 second. Yeah, we're ready now. The deeper questions in life, you have to have trust in yourself to take the decisions, because not taking a decision is the worst decision you can take, because it guarantees failure. You have to take a decision. There's that one thing that you have doubts about. There's that one thing you have some questions about, some uncertainty about. The thing is, double check your sources, consult it with AI, consult it with humans, get all the information required for you to take the decision. But in the end of the day, you are going to have to take the decision. The longer you delay the decision, the worse the situation gets. Okay, because then your brain is going to start overthinking. This new buzzword, it's actually not new, but this lockdown buzzword which everybody was saying, overthinking, it basically comes from delayed decision making. Simple as that. It's not some woo woo, it's not some I have some trauma from my past life or something. No, it's just delayed decision making. I just have a lot of mosquitoes biting me today, man. This is sad. This is painful, itchy and sad. I hate monsoons. So yeah, exposure therapy regarding self-help. Sorry. Exposure therapy regarding decision making. You just take more decisions. Simple as that. Like at the end of the day, you have to take a decision. If you can't figure anything out, just pick a random one, no matter how deep it is. At the end of the day, this is like a 50-50 success rate, right? Like 50% chance it's a failure, 50% chance the decision is actually a success. But no matter the result, you will have to keep trust in yourself, faith in yourself, and you have to take decisions, because at the end of the day, like at the end of like 1 or 2 years of this decision making, you're going to have like 150, I'm sure more, but 150, 175 decisions that you have taken. And among those, there's going to be good ones and there's going to be bad ones. But now, since you have trained this decision making muscle in you, when you are going to take another decision, you're going to have a lot more context, a lot more learning that you have learned from the failures, from the good decisions, that you're going to take the decision faster with more confidence in yourself, because you know that you have taken over 150 decisions in the past year. Just simply by increasing the number, increasing the volume of decisions taken, you can give yourself confidence on how to take decisions, because you simply learn more, you know more, you have more experience, you have a trail of proof behind you that you can take effective decisions, and that proof is what matters the most. So that was it. I know towards the end the video just got a little bit out of whack and absolutely cooked. I know, like after I started discussing processing and the lymphatic system, my brain just went on a little circle and I'm having a lot of brain fog right now. This video that I'm making over here, it's kind of part of this 4-stage process thing, of this external brain protocol thing, because I'm recording this video not just to get views, because I know people are not interested in this topic. I'm making this video so that this idea of mine, this idea of mine gets stored out there, gets documented out there for a long time properly, so that future me and other people who need this information can refer to my video for information. What I am doing here is me following my own advice, practicing what I preach, the external brain protocol. This was it for it. Take a screenshot for like an overall bird's eye view of everything that I have said over here. Yeah, see you on the next guide. I've spent way too much time on this one video today.